Good morning, everybody. My name is Pranav, a legal intern, Relaxation Company for the month of June. And as mentioned yesterday, today I'll be talking about condition and warranty under the Sale of Goods Act. Stipulation or representation in a contract of sale may either become a condition or warranty depending upon the character and importance of the stipulation. Sale of Goods Act considers this as a significant part of formation. They imply a promise made by a seller to the buyer with respect to the goods he is going to sell. The promise here is a warranty or condition. What is a condition? Section 12, subsection 2 of the Act reads that a condition is a stipulation essential to the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which gives rise to treat the contract as repudiated. The, these are the most essential terms. They form the root of the contract. For example, A orders for a Fiat car. B supplies an ambassador car. This is a breach of condition, so the contract can be repudiated or rejected. Next is a warranty. Section 12, subsection 3 of the Act reads that a warranty is a stipulation collateral to the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which gives rise to the claim for damages but not the right to reject the goods and treat the contract as repudiated. These are merely essential terms collateral to the contract of sale and are such of vital importance as condition. The breach of such terms entitles the other party to claim compensation only. The affected party cannot reject the contract completely. For example, A ordered a red colored Mercedes car. B supplies a blue colored Mercedes car. This is a breach of warranty. Here, the buyer can only claim compensation and cannot cancel the contract completely. Types of conditions and warranties. There are two types of conditions and warranties. First is express condition and warranty. Express conditions and warranties are which are expressly provided in the contract. Next is implied condition and warranty. These are implied by law or custom. They shall prevail in a contract of sale unless the parties agree to the contrary. Now, let's look at the types of implied conditions. The parties are liable to include in the contract any number of express conditions and warranties. But in addition to the express condition and warranty, the law implies into every sale of goods a number of conditions and warranties. They are read as part and parcel of every contract of sale unless they are expressly included by the contracting parties. These conditions and warranties are known as implied conditions and warranties. First is implied condition as to the title or ownership of the good. The buyer can generally presume or assume that the seller who is in possession of the property has a valid title. In the case of an agreement to sell, it is presumed that the seller will have a right to sell the goods at the time when the property passes from the seller to the buyer. If the seller's title turns out to be defective, then the buyer may reject the goods. Second is implied condition as to sale by description. In a contract of sale of goods by description, it is implied that the goods shall correspond with the description only. The buyer contracts relying on the description of the goods. In the following circumstances, sale of goods by description takes place. The buyer has not seen the goods but relies on the description given by the seller. Though the buyer has seen the goods, he does not rely on what he has seen, but on what was stated to him, and the deviation of the goods from the description is not apparent. Packing of the goods may be essential part of description. For example, a seller of grapes gives a description that he has seedless grapes and contracts to give them to be. Here, he must deliver seedless grapes, otherwise the buyer has the right to reject the goods and also recover damages. Third is implied condition as to sale by sample. In a contract as sale by sample, the following conditions must be fulfilled. The bulk quality must correspond with the sample. The buyer must be given an opportunity to compare the bulk with sample. Goods shall be free from any defect which are not apparent on examination. Fourth is implied condition as to the quality and fitness. When the goods sold are below the prescribed quality, then the contract can be rejected. But the buyer must satisfy two conditions, namely, he must tell the purpose for which he required the goods, and he must have relied on the skill of the manufacturer to produce a good of the quality required by the buyer, and the goods must be of a type which are normally dealt by the seller. Fifth is implied condition as to merchantability. By merchantable quality, it means that the goods are fit for sale in the market. If the buyer has incurred some loss by relying on the merchantable quality, then he can get compensated. Merchantability means if the goods are purchased for resale, they must be capable of passing in the market under the name or description by which they are sold. The goods must be maintainable at their full value. Next point is if the goods are purchased for self use, they must be fit for purpose which they are generally used. Packing of goods is also considered for judging merchantability. Sixth implied condition is implied condition as to wholesomeness. This applies to eatables only. In case of eatables and other provisions, they must correspond to the description and also are merchantable. In simple terms, it should be wholesome, pure, unadulterated, and suitable for consumption of the buyer at the time of sale. It must also be technical and it should be fit for human consumption. If the goods are not in fit condition, then the buyer can sue for damages. Now let's look at the types of implied warranties. There are four types of implied warranties. First is implied warranty as to quiet possession. In every contract, there is an implied condition that the buyer shall have and enjoy quiet possession of the goods. If the buyer is affected by the seller's defective title, then he can claim damages from the seller. Second type of implied warranty is implied warranty of freedom from encumbrances. The goods bought by the buyer should not be subject to any charge or encumbrance in favor of a third party. If the buyer's possession is affected by any charge or encumbrance, then the buyer can claim damages for the breach of this warranty. However, the buyer can have no right of action if the seller has already disclosed the charge or encumbrance in the goods at the time of contract. For example, in the case of bailed goods, the bailee in this case will have claim over the goods. Next is implied warranty as to the quality or fitness by usage or trade or custom. An implied warranty as to the quality or fitness for a particular purpose may be as per the usage or trade or custom. And last is implied warranty to disclose the dangerous nature of goods. To disclose the dangerous nature of the goods. The last type of implied warranty. If a seller sells certain goods knowing that such goods are inherently dangerous and if the buyer is ignorant of such danger, then the seller must warn the buyer of the dangers or otherwise the seller is liable for all the consequences arising out of the use of the goods sold. And with this, I come to the end for today's session. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.